Hello and welcome again, and here you find us on the dusty road, and it's usually at this point I explain about the journey I have to take, but on this occasion have a look at that. The temple is right here, and there's a reason for it, because this dusty road on the left hand side is exceptionally ancient. Now, for a small temple that sits next to this dusty road, which is almost completely broken down, it has quite a lot to tell us. It was built by Indravarman I in approximately the 9th century, and we know that it was dedicated to the Lord Shiva. But what interests me especially here is its setting, because if I step to the side here, we will see that ancient road. And we know it's ancient, and it was particularly important because this road leads to a port. And even to this day, there are still people using it. So we can easily imagine the thoroughfare that this was. There would have been traffic going up and down here carrying supplies, goods from all over the world, into the very heart of the empire, which is Angkor, because it's just some miles that way. Just follow this path. And they're still travelling the exact same ancient road. So people, travellers, traders, wealthy merchants would have stopped here and would have asked for blessings from that mighty god Shiva. So this dusty road I stand on was in fact an artery that led to the centre of the kingdom. And these people that are using it, and the gentleman who's on the left of your screen, is one of the relatives of those ancient builders. Because one must remember, out here in the Cambodian countryside, there are not many roads, especially, due to recent tragedies. People never really travelled far. So it's not much of a leap of the imagination to say that those that live in this area are the direct descendants of those great temple builders. Now, if we look to the temple itself, well, once stood here a mighty statue of Shiva. It's quite large inside. It's a lot larger than one would normally experience, made purely of brick, as those earlier temples are. But as we can see, it suffered pretty badly. Now, if we about turn, there's just one real detail that is left, and it is round here. It's a blind doorway, and we can look upon this wonderfully intricate design. The top portion is still with us, and what always amazes me as to how well this is preserved. I mean, just look at it. This is nigh on 1,000 years old. It has suffered the indignity of countless monsoons and, of course, endless dust storms. But look, it is in absolutely beautiful condition. And it is here a statue of the mighty Shiva would have stood. But what is more interesting, I feel, is to imagine who was it that came through this very doorway. I mean, wealthy travellers, the locals, of course, but those that would have travelled far and wide, the traders. Because remember, right next to this, we have a main artery that leads to the very heart of the kingdom. It leads to the king himself and his royal court. And for them to travel to such far off lands as India and so on, they would have had to have crossed tempestuous seas and Lord knows how many miles of jungle. And I know from being in the jungle, it is a hellish environment. Never underestimate how terrible and how trying these journeys would have been. And it's about nowish, on a road such as this and this road itself, that they would have seen a hint of civilization. A warm bed for the night, some fresh food and water, and, of course, they could seek sanctuary within their religion by looking to a mighty lord such as Shiva and maybe thanking him for their safe return home. Or it could have been the other way round. They could have been heading out and they came here looking for his blessing to say, make sure I get home safe. But this doorway, if it could talk, could tell more tales than any fantastic story book. As always, this has been Mr. B at Forgotten Temples, and I very much hope you've enjoyed this brief visit around this forgotten site far away in ancient Asia. And if by chance you could help me build up this library of forgotten temples, I would be deeply grateful. And how you do that is very simple. It's www.patreon.com/temples. Until next time, as always, I wish you absolutely nothing but the very best. You take good care now.